Hello, everybody. This is Beth Worsdell, author. This is the Witty Writers Show, and I'm here with the amazing Stefanie Nici. Am I saying that right? Did I nail it?
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. You got it.
How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you, Beth? How's it going?
It's going great. It's absolutely going great. I am just going to quickly glance at my phone, Stefanie, just to make sure that we are live on the links that I pre-shared, because I'm trying to be very organized right now. So okay. I'm just going to have a look. I can see that we are live. So that is awesome. And boom. It worked, Stefanie.
Yeah. I'm so excited to be here. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm absolutely thrilled that you're joining us today, Stefanie, because do you know what? You're one of the many authors that I actively try and keep in touch with. And, you know, we share each other's posts and everything else. And you are such a lovely author, because all the time I'm seeing you share other authors' posts and, you know, put the word out about them.
I try. Us indie authors, we have to stick together, right?
Absolutely. And I commend you for that, because I think that's absolutely wonderful. We've already got lots of people joining us, which is fantastic, Stefanie. We've got Josephine from England. She says hello to both of you.
Hi, Josephine. Hi.
Hello, Josephine.
My buddy.
Had some bad weather to cope with at the moment, and I know there's flooding in the UK at the moment.
Oh, sorry, Josephine. Hang in there. Get the raft out. The canoe.
My sister messaged me earlier, Stefanie, and apparently there's loads of flooding in Warrington, which is a northern part of the UK. I think she might have to dig a canoe out later on.
Yeah, just as long as it doesn't get too high, right? Then everything will be okay, right?
Exactly.
Just stay in.
Exactly.
Stay in.
We've also got Theodore, who just joined us. He says, hello, ladies.
Hi, Theodore.
I love the love hearts. Thank you, Theodore. That's so lovely. We've got Marcy, who's just joined us as well. She says, hi, beautiful ladies.
Hi, Marcy.
Now, Stefanie, I've got to give Marcy a quick mention, because she's part of an organisation, which is it's a charity organisation, and it's connected with her book, which is called The Shoebox Effect, and it's all to do with adoptees and adoption and coming to terms. They've just gone national.
That's wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations. That really is wonderful. Yes.
It really is. So Marcy and the lovely people that she works with on this are able to actually help so many more people. It's a wonderful. So congratulations to you, Marcy, and your team.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing. God bless.
You're honoured, Stefanie, because my mum, Lynn, has just joined us. Hello, Mum.
Oh, hi, Lynn. And Lynn just had a birthday.
She did.
Happy birthday, Lynn. Oh, that's wonderful.
She's like me, Stefanie. She's been in denial for a very long time about her age.
Yeah, me too. Age is just a number. All right, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. I don't know.
I agree. We've got Marcy. Oh, Marcy says, thanks for the love. You are welcome, darling. It's much deserved. It really is. Stefanie, I'm super excited to have you today, because you've just released your second book.
I did.
So I'm so excited for you. And you've just had a birthday as well. So happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a Capricorn. So it's a Capricorn month.
It is. My sister's just had her birthday as well. So you're all having birthdays together.
Oh, wow.
So
your mom, your sister.
I know. January breaks the bank.
So 2 Capricorns. And what sign are you?
I'm a Virgo.
Oh, but Capricorn and Virgo, I think that's a good mix.
It is a good mix.
Oh, perfect. Good.
Because my mum and my sisters are my best friends. I've got to tell you, they are awesome. I don't know what I'd do without them. Now, you're actually in Philadelphia right now, is that right?
No, I'm on Long Island. I was born in Philadelphia, but I came here when I was really young. My parents came to New York. So right now we're on Long Island. Yeah.
Oh,
We're in New York. So we go from Long Island to Hudson Valley, but either way, we're in New York.
that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, tell me, Stefanie, because obviously, you released your first book in 2019, which is called The Smoke Tree.
Yes.
Cover on it is absolutely beautiful. Can we see?
I could show it. This is a Daphne Austin. Is it showing correctly? This is from Daphne's Delightful Design. So that's Daphne, and this is her cover. That's from book 1 of The Smoke Tree. So thank you.
It's beautiful, and I've got to say your reviews for it are absolutely amazing. On Goodreads, Stefanie's reviews for the first book, The Smoke Tree, is an average of 4.6 out of 5. So that is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm very happy. I have to thank the readers for reading the book and taking the time to read the book and taking time to review the book too. So, and us writers, we love to read reviews of our work.
Yeah,
it's absolutely so important.
Absolutely, and I got to tell you, I do love actually sharing my reviews and tagging the reviewer, because I think it's like you. I like to show my appreciation and say thank you, because they mean the world to us, don't they? They really do.
They do.
Your husband is a massive supporter, and I'd like to thank him for encouraging you and pushing you into publishing. What inspired you to write The Smoke Tree? What gave you the inspiration?
You know what? I always wanted to, I've always wrote, but I've never submitted anything, or I've gotten so far with stories and then I would stop because, life gets in the way. And you put that on the side. But then, I don't know, as time went on, my husband finally, my husband kept on telling me, you have to write a book. Like, you love to write, you have to write a book. So he definitely pushed me. I always say, I never would have wrote a book if it wasn't for my husband, Anthony, because he demanded. He gave me, he bought me my first set of pens. He bought us our computer. He bought me multiple laptops. And he always asked me, are you working on your book? Are you working on your book? So but it's weird because as far as The Smoke Tree goes, I don't exactly, I started many projects and I didn't finish them. So with The Smoke Tree, that was another project that I started. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't sure if I was going to finish it because there were so many that I didn't finish before. So I don't remember what exactly got the wheels turning on that. And the title, The Smoke Tree, just seemed to tie in with the story. And I don't even really remember where I got the title from, but everything just seemed to fall into place so perfectly. You know what I mean? It just seemed to happen. And then before I knew it, the story was done. And I will never forget, I stared at the computer. I was on the last page, and I actually cried. I was like, I could not believe that I finished a book. I'm getting misty-eyed right now just thinking about it. But it was phenomenal for me. It was such a personal goal that I never really thought I would attain. But really, I owe it to my husband. My husband goes, no. You wrote the book. But when you have somebody pushing you to do it and constantly on you, it really means a lot. Support means a lot. And for people to have faith in you and to believe in you and to help you, it really means a lot. So thank you, honey.
I think it's absolutely amazing. I really do. And you're right. Having that support and encouragement and people's faith in you goes such a massive long way. And I think also when you are an author later in life, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, it's hard because not everybody wants to take you seriously to start off with. So I think
because it's a late start. Yep, it's true. But meanwhile, with life and age comes experience. So those really can be the best stories. And that's especially when you can relate to people through your work, depending on, I guess, what genre you're writing. So whereas I'm writing contemporary women's fiction, it revolves around, people. And I also have male readers, so I don't want to, pigeonhole it to women only, the story, because I do have the male readers also. But anyone can relate to someone having issues or troubles or problems with relationships, with family, finding out things that you had no idea were happening, maybe right in front of your eyes or under your nose. And then one day you just have an epiphany, like a wake up, and you're like, wow, this was going on all that time. But yeah, I kind of lost track of what the question was in the beginning. But, oh, right. So I feel like with age and life comes experience, and it just makes it easier for me to write things and express. And I get so many messages, and some of the reviews even say, wow, this is like so relatable. Or some people say, is that my life you wrote about? Their own life. They go, is that my life you wrote about? Because I feel like I'm Tora. But it's a really big compliment. So, and that's my goal. I just want to relate to people, and I want people to say, that happened to me, or wow, I totally get that, or I've been in that place. I've been in those shoes. It really means a lot. I love the feedback. So.
I think you're writing about, as you said, issues that are relatable. And even if somebody hasn't gone through them personally, they're bound to have a friend or sister or brother or a family member or whatever who has been through that.
Yes. Yep. I agree. Yeah. So that's what I try to, convey in my stories. So
it's absolutely amazing. We've got some more comments and stuff popping up, so I'm going to read them out.
Okay, great.
So Josephine says, me too. So she's a Capricorn.
She is, yeah. She's a fellow Capricorn.
She is indeed. Josephine says, both of Stefanie's covers are lovely and the reviews are amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Marcy says, family support as we are writing is so vital. Absolutely 100%. Now, tell me a bit about your character from the smoke tree. What type of person is she, Stefanie?
Well, Tora is just, a regular woman going through life, unsuspecting, going with the flow, like so many of us do. So that way, easy, things are easier, life is easier, makes things easier for everybody. And then one day, Tora makes a discovery that really shakes up her life. And she has a lot of things to think about and a lot of, self-evaluation that she has to do. She learns that nothing was the way she thought it was, which is where the title, The Smoke Tree, and the actual smoke tree comes in, because the smoke tree is actually a tree. And it has these little tiny flowers, and they're very deceiving, because if you stand far away and see the tree from far away, it looks like little puffs of smoke, little clouds, puffs of smoke. But then when you get closer, you do see that they're little tiny flowers in a cluster, like between the leaves. So it's a tricky tree. And that was where I got the tagline, life is not always how we see it, because we look at that tree from afar and go, wow, look at the smoke, look at the clouds. Just like life, sometimes we have a veil in front of our face. And when you get to see things up close, the way they really are, it's not the way you see them or saw them from far away. So Tora was unsuspecting, and she made a discovery, and that's where book one, comes into play, where Tora has to learn how to deal with life and the people that were in her life from her marriage and her husband, of course, and how she moves on, if she moves on. In book one, we don't know. We don't know. We have to see what happens. But then it gets carried on weeks later from book one into book two. Tora returns. She went to Hawaii. She needed to relax. She needed to regroup. And she went to Hawaii. And everything was beautiful. Everything was perfect. But then when she came back, things were not so great. So that's where the second book takes off. More problems, more drama, more secrets, more lies. Just like real life. Right?
Yeah,
just
absolutely. Have you got the second book for us to see? Now, this
I do.
This one is The Smoke Tree, Broken Branches. Look at that. Both covers are just stunning.
Thank you. This cover is Booksmith Designs cover. So I do have 2 different cover designers. Yep.
They're absolutely beautiful. Do you know what? I'm a great believer that, you know, the eyes are the windows to your soul. And you know, you can see emotions in people's eyes sometimes that they just can't express. And I think that your book covers are just perfect for your story. They really, really are, because obviously, you know, your character goes through so many different emotions: love, loss, happiness, anxiety, all the things that we actually feel in real life. Now, my mum has been through divorce, as have, you know, my dad, obviously, and, you know, life up and down. I think it's fantastic that you really do express emotions so beautifully in your books.
I'm sorry, you got a little garbled. What was the last thing you said? I express emotion?
So many emotions in your book that.
Oh, okay. Yes. I tried. Well, Torva's life is a roller coaster. Yeah. She's happy, then she's sad, then she's mad, then, you know, it's just like one feeling after another. But and in real life too, right? We go through that too. So many emotions sometimes. We could be, you know, really really happy, really ecstatic, and then something happens and we are not happy anymore. So, right, that's life. Our emotions, you know, they fluctuate. So
I completely understand. We got a comment from Theodore. He says, I would love to read both books, Stefanie Nici.
Oh, I would love for you to read both books, Theodore, and I'd love the feedback too, to see what you thought. Yeah, that would be great.
That would be lovely. And just so you know, Theodore, and everyone else who's watching, Stefanie has actually got 2 of her book covers. Sorry, it's a Smoke Tree, isn't it, for the all author?
Yes. Oh, yes. The Smoke Tree, Broken Branches. It is this one. The first one was in the all author cover contest too. But yes, this one right now is up. Yep.
So this beautiful book cover is in a competition on the all author website, and you can actually vote for it now. Now, Stefanie, because the cover's so beautiful, she's already in the top 24. And if you want to help her get in the top 3 to win a load of promotional goodies for herself to help her and her book, please vote for a book cover. The details are actually on Stefanie's Facebook page, which I've posted the link for, so you can actually find the link and the details and go and vote. But please share as well. Give Stefanie a hand and share so your friends and family can vote too. And get her winning all that promotional stuff. That would be fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
Josephine.
Thank you. Thank you, Josephine. Josephine has been a phenomenal supporter. She really has. Thank you so much.
She is fantastic, and she's just like us. She's always trying to lift each other up as authors. And as you said, you know, it's nice to not be in competition with each other, but actually help lift us up.
It's teamwork. We're all in this together, you know? We're all in this together. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's so important.
So what are you doing at the moment, Stefanie? What are your plans? I mean, you've just released you know, the book number 2, which is amazing. Is it a 2-book series, or is there going to be a trilogy?
It is. I mean, I guess we could call it a duology. Can we use that term? Since we have the first book, The Smoke Tree, and then we have the second book, which is The Smoke Tree, Broken Branches. So it's a follow-up. It's a sequel, but it's a standalone. So you can read book 2. And you're not, you know, going to be lost or anything like that if you don't read book 1. So I just want to throw that in. But of course, you know, it's 2 books. So if you want to read them both, that's, you know, that's even better. So I am going to start. As a matter of fact, I have started working on another book, another women's fiction book. Ooh. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that. But it'll be different. It'll be different characters. Because originally too, when I wrote the first book, I thought the first book was just going to be the first book. I didn't expect to write a sequel or a follow-up. And a lot of people that read the book said, what happens with Tora? What's going on? You know, like they were really invested, which I was flattered to find that out. But I wasn't going to go on with that. But since so many people asked, I felt like I kind of like left it in a place that people wanted more. So maybe I should, write more and do a sequel. So I did, but I just didn't want the sequel to be at the point where you have to read book one. So that's why it's a standalone. So that way, if you didn't read book one, it's okay, and you could just pick up book two, and it's a wonderful story on its own. So now my next project is also contemporary women's fiction. It's a different main character though. All the characters are going to be different. There's going to be new problems, new drama, new happy, just everything about it is new. But again, as always, I want it to be very relatable. And this time it's going to have something to do with writing. So I thought that would be like a little nice addition to that. So yeah, so I just started working on that. I have a lot of ideas for it, and I can't wait to really get into the meat of it, because I'm just like laying out the groundwork now. So once I get into like the heart of the story, to the point where it kind of like takes off on its own and kind of like writes itself, if you could call it that I can't wait to be there. So the story right now I'm telling the story, but the story is going to tell, you know what I mean? The character is going to tell me how the story is going to go, and that is what I'm looking for. So that's next.
That's something that I say, when people ask me about my books, I say I just hold the pen, and my imagination and my characters do all the writing.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't one of your stories come from a dream? Oh, thank you. Okay, because I'm like, I know Beth had a dream. I know I read that, and her story came from a dream, which that was like meant to be, right? I mean, if you dreamt it.
It was weird, Stefanie. I've got to tell you, it was really odd. And it's something that I've mentioned before, because I sleep like a log. I could sleep through a hurricane, I swear to God, and I snore like a man. Well, I used to actually. I can't even say that now, because I honestly, Stefanie, I had a deviated septum.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. So I think I might have broke my nose, because I used to do taekwondo. I used to be a badass before I had my children. I used to,
and now you calmed down.
I did. I used to fight guys at my club, because I'm 5'9". I'm classed as a heavyweight, which I don't take as a compliment, I've got to tell you. So when I used to practice, I used to have to spar men. And I used to compete.
Wow.
I was always getting punches to the face and nose and stuff. So I think it broke. And all of a sudden, I just started snoring really bad.
That's very interesting.
My neighbours, I think, thought it was my husband snoring, and it was me.
That's hilarious. Does your husband snore or no?
Me.
Well, blame him. Your secret's out now, but you should have never revealed that secret, right? You could always blame him.
Do you know, I didn't even believe him when he kept saying how bad I was, until he recorded me. He recorded me snoring just to prove how bad it was. I was in shock.
Oh my God.
There's no way that can be me.
That's pretty funny.
That was.
Yeah.
So I normally sleep like the dead. Like a zombie movie, I could literally wake the dead with my snoring.
And you stay asleep right and wake everybody else up with your snoring.
I never wake myself up.
That's pretty funny.
I had this really weird dream, and I don't know why I remembered it, but in the morning it was so vivid, Stefanie. Like, I could picture everything of what happened, and it just stuck with me for like 2.5 years, this dream. It was really weird. Just kept
2.5. You remembered it for 2.5 years?
It kept popping in.
Usually they fade. Wow.
This dream, it was so vivid. And I would be doing housework or doing something with my kids, or out with my husband, and all of a sudden this dream would just pop in my head again, and I'd start thinking about it. And I thought, I need to write this down just to get it off my mind. But as I put it down, the next part of the story started popping in my head. So I wrote that down. And then the next bit, I wrote that down. And before I'd written 3 chapters, which I then sent to my sisters, and they're going, "We need to carry on." There we go.
Wow. And the rest is history.
3 books later.
That's amazing. All from one dream.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One dream spawned 3 books, really.
But do you know what? There's quite a number of really famous authors, and their books have come from dreams. And Stefanie Nici of Twilight. I believe that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe the Twilight series started as a dream, and I've always said to people, you know, when they've said, you know, "Oh, I've had this really weird dream," and they've described it, I always say to them, "Write it down. That sounds so cool."
Yes, I mean, some dreams are so amazing, right? They're out of the norm. And then when you think about it, if you remember it, because like a lot of times, right, they start to fade. And they say we dream, we always dream, but we just don't remember the dream. I guess it depends how deep the sleep is, and then that REM, rapid eye movement, and then the dreams start to kick in. But for some reason, we don't remember them. But wow, that was meant to be for you, though, to remember that dream. I mean, 2.5 years, and you never shook it. A good thing you started writing it down, because look at what came out of it. That's fantastic.
It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I love that story.
So what about you? Have you ever had a dream or something happen to you that you thought, I need to make a book out of this, especially now as you've already done 2?
Well, I mean, you know, I guess just things that happen in life in general creates a story, like with the things that I write about. Like, you just sometimes take it to the next level, or sometimes they say truth is stranger than fiction. So sometimes people have things happen to them or experiences with other people, and you say to yourself, wow, that was kind of harsh. Or, you know, you repeat the story and people go, what? They did that? They said that? And yeah, it actually happened. So, I mean, if you could weave that in your story sometimes, you know, that helps too. But I haven't had any dreams that have inspired me to write a story about, or anything like that. I guess just like things that happen in life sometimes that surprise me, or, you know, some people can be so incredibly nice, and that's nice to write about too, because that adds a sweetness to your story. And some people can be, you know, mean or despicable, and that kind of adds, you know, the harsh reality, right? Because we've all met some pretty sticky people, right? And sometimes we still have sticky people in our lives. But you know, and that way when people read the story, they go, wow, I can relate to that, because some people are great and do wonderful, phenomenal things and are so kind and so true of heart. And some other people maybe not so nice. You know, there's different tiers, I guess. But I like to write about that, the things that happen in life. Whether, you know, not that it has happened to me, but, you know, it has happened, and I like to write about it. So not so much dreams for me, but more like, you know, things that can happen in life experiences and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say that. Yeah,
I absolutely agree with you. Talking of nice people, Kristen has joined us. Hello, darling. She says, "Nice to meet you, Stefanie."
Hi, Kristen. Nice to meet you too. Thanks for tuning in.
She says, late again, but hi.
That's usually me. I'm always late. I think last week I missed the whole thing.
Never, that's what I say. Better late than never.
Yeah, better late than never. Yeah, because you could always catch it later, right? You can always catch it later. I'm so bad with the time. Maybe I'm cooking, you know, or doing the laundry. There's always time escapes us. So, but yeah, better late than never. That's the good thing. We could always tune in later, read the comments, listen to the interview, leave some comments. Yeah, it's such a fun process. So thank you so much for having me.
I've been so looking forward to it. I really, really have. And I've got to tell you, I fell in love with your book covers the moment I saw them. They're absolutely beautiful. They really are.
Thank you.
Did you go down the self-publishing route or the published traditional route?
Self-published. self-published. I didn't even think about going traditional because I kind of, not that I felt rushed, but now that I finally had a story completed, like I didn't want to waste any more time. And I was like, I gotta publish this, I gotta publish it. So that's what I did. And then with the second story, I didn't want to wait, very much longer either, because, even though it is a story on its own, it still can tie in with book one. So while we were going through everything that we're going through with, coronavirus, and we were home a lot, my friends would say to me, you still haven't finished that book? You're home with, you're home. Everybody's at home. And it was actually harder to find the time because everybody was home. So it was kind of harder to complete. So by the time I completed it, I just wanted to self-publish. I just wanted to get it out there. I just, wanted to self-publish. And I mean, being an indie author, it's such a great community. And I've met such wonderful people, other indie, and such as yourself, wonderful indie authors. And it has its advantages to be an indie author, control of your own work, and it just has a lot. And I know a lot of times in the groups that I'm in on Facebook, they ask a lot of questions about, should I seek an agent or should I go indie? And then you always hear the pros and cons of both. But a lot of writers seem to like the indie approach.
Yeah.
The work is yours, the book is yours. You have creative control. You have control of everything, and that's a good thing. Right? Even the royalties are higher as an indie author.
Yeah.
Right. By the time the publishing companies and everybody gets their cut, what are you left with? Sometimes nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that one advantage is that us writers have trouble with is the marketing, because a lot of writers aren't sure how to, market their books or, do promotions and stuff like that. We're going the traditional route. That's what they do for you, the marketing. But then again, a lot of times they want to change your book, right? If I'm not mistaken, change your characters, change your voice. But as an indie author, you get to keep your voice too. So we just have to learn how to market ourselves better and put ourselves out there more. And being such a, writing is like a solo thing. It's one person, a computer or paper and pen. So we don't really, market the way we should. And maybe we don't think about it, but we really just got to throw ourselves out there. You wrote a book, show the world what you wrote, tell your story and let everybody know that it's out there, and promote, and never ever say, oh no, I'm not gonna post my book. Because I know sometimes people are shy or whatever their reason is, but I feel you wrote a book, should be proud, show the world, let everybody see what you did. It's a wonderful feeling. And then of course move on to your next book, and then your next book, and then your next book. So, but I really encourage all indie authors or anybody that wants to write. I really do, because you're never going to get it out there if you don't start.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I don't think any of us are quite prepared for the amount of work that you have to do, leading up to releasing your book, then promoting it, and as you said, doing all the marketing afterwards and everything else. It's a massive, massive learning curve. And as you know, I try and help as many fellow authors as I can.
Yeah, you do.
The Writers Rock groups are fantastic, especially for the author group. As you know, we do try and share as much information and tips and advice as we possibly can. And the great thing about doing the Witty Writers Show is that I get to talk to fabulous authors like you who are open about their experience and tips and advice that they've found. It makes all the difference to everybody, I think.
It does. And I feel like as indie authors, we have to share that information with other indie authors, because it's true. In the beginning, everybody thinks writing the story is the biggest challenge, but then it's not, because now you have a story. Now you need an editor. Then you have to, once you get the stuff back from the editor, then you have to make those changes. You need a proofreader sometimes, right? You need beta readers. It's a whole thing that goes into that, which at first I didn't realize myself, because I kept on. So my story was done. Then I needed an editor. Then I needed a proofreader. I needed a designer, not in that order, but I just needed these things. And I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, I had no idea what this entailed, in the beginning. And if you do look at it ahead of time that way, sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I think it worked out good for me that I went step by step by step, but things kept on being that I needed a formatter. Like there were things I needed. I needed a blurb. I needed a tagline. I like all the things that I needed. And I was like, what? I need this. Then, you have to pick your colors for your book and I was like, oh my God, know everything that was involved. But thank goodness for me, it was a step by step by step process. And I kept on just getting more thrown at me. So every time something would come in, I would, knock it out of the park, or at least try to. But it's a lot of steps. And then when it's finally done, you're so exhausted, you're like, oh, all the work that went into this book and all the people that also go into a book that nobody realizes, all the behind the scenes people. So I did try to cover that in book 2. I just, to thank everybody, the formatter, the proofreader, the editor, the book designer, and the people in my life that, my husband, who has made it, such a joy to, the whole process, because I know some people do not get the support. And the readers, of course, I acknowledge the readers too in my book, because without the readers, I don't be reading the book. And I wrote it already, so I read it 100 times over and over and over again. And that's another thing, you don't realize how many times you read your book over and over again, over and over and over. And sometimes you get to the point that you don't, like, you're done with it, but you don't feel like you're ready to release it to the world, but you just gotta let go. You just gotta say, all right, it's done. Here, like I have to let it go. It's like a baby, like, a bird flying out of the nest. But it's such a great experience. And anybody who, wants to write, I just please write. Like, don't let anything hold you back. Just do that beginning of writing. Just write and read. And then the wonderful communities like Writers Rock and people like you, there's so much support out there. You just have to find the right people that are going to see you in the right direction. And it's really an enjoyable process. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And interviews like this and meeting people like you, it's a great thing. It is. It really is. So thank you.
Every bit of support that we get is an absolute bonus, isn't it? It really, really is. And the one thing I wish I'd have done differently, Stefanie, and I don't know about you, but I wish I'd have done more preparation before I actually released. So I wish.
More what? I'm sorry, more what?
Preparation.
Oh, preparation. Okay. So in which way?
I wish I'd have done my Goodreads profile and book details in advance while I was writing.
I didn't do that either.
Yeah, I wish I could have built up the anticipation and the excitement for my book release way beforehand, and also share my writing journey with people. And I regret not having the foresight of doing that.
I didn't do that either, yeah.
As soon as I started writing the book, really writing it, I wish I'd have shared snippets of my story to build up that excitement and put my book details on Goodreads so people could start adding it to their reading list while I was writing it.
That's wonderful advice. Yeah. And you know what, too? You say you didn't have the foresight to do that. Either did I. But for people that are like listening to this interview right now and know that it's a good thing to do, they might say to themselves, oh, I don't know, who's going to be interested? Because I think one of the biggest fears also when writing a book is many writers fear no one is going to be interested in their story. But I say, and I know I heard this from an author, but if you were interested enough, if the story interested you enough to write it, there is going to be interest out there for someone to read it. And that always sticks with me. So I also want to encourage writers about that too. If you have the interest to write the story, if the story is interesting to you, it's going to be interesting to somebody else. So write that story. And then as far as the journey goes and the prep beforehand, some writers might say, oh, nobody cares about my journey, or, I didn't even finish my book. Nobody cares. But guess what? There's thousands of people out there that are in the same boat as you, only maybe you're a little further, and they need that help and they need that encouragement. So sharing the journey is so important. And I also wish I would have shared my journey, but I didn't. But that's why I like to go on interviews now and say to people out there, write that book. You know, don't let anything discourage you. Write that book, share the journey, which is a wonderful tip. And it gets people like excited and ramped up for your story. And it gets you excited too. And it gets you familiar with social media, because I went on Goodreads late. And, you know, I did things late, like after the book. But I got so wrapped up. That's another thing, because that's an excellent point you brought up. Because once you start, you know, getting to a certain point in your book where you get really, really busy and you have to pay a lot of attention to your book, like with the edits and stuff like that, you might not have as much time to start documenting your journey then. So that's why it's good to do it in advance. So that's great. I love that you brought that up. It is really important. And meeting wonderful people along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my voice is so strong at your end.
No, on my end, it's still a little garbled.
Is it? I haven't been drinking anyone, honestly.
No. It's the I guess it's the connection maybe we have. What's that? I love your mug.
Do you know what it says, Stefanie? It says, because we were talking about this with Jerry, because I've gone through early menopause. It says, I'm still hot. Now it just comes in flashes.
I love it. I love it.
I think my daughter got me this. I think my daughter Holly bought me this, I think, for one of my birthdays, because I was forever getting my fan out and doing this. One little tip I do want to give our authors and you know, writers who may be watching is, while I'm going through my manuscripts, I actually highlight it. Sometimes I do it as early as when I'm actually writing the book on the first draft. But if I've written something and I think that would make a fantastic quote to share because it's gripping, it intrigue people, I'll actually highlight it in orange or yellow so I can quickly scan and go back to it at a later date to use. And
That's
then
a wonderful idea.
Then I'll have a Word document with all of those copy and pasted, so I can use them for promotions, for just general sharing. I can use books for advertising. So it's getting used to doing little things like that, isn't it? It's you learn, I think, with every book, you learn something new to do or something new to keep up with, or you know, whatever.
You do. Each book teaches you multiple different things. Like after book one, there was still things that I didn't know that I took with me into book two. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. But now I will remember it for next time. So it's such a help. And the quotes, that's another great thing. I see people quote, you know, passages. I don't do that. But that's wonderful, because sometimes you have to stay active on social media. So quotes, reviews, all of that, you know, is really important. So I have to do that too. I have to put quotes. And it's a good reminder too, because sometimes you write things and you forget you wrote it. And then you go, wow, that's not bad. I wrote that. You know? So it's, you know, it's like a compliment, you know. It makes you feel good sometimes because you forget what you write. You get so lost in your story.
I think you probably got a complete collection of quotes that you could use from your books, because obviously she goes through, you know, your character goes through so much and so many emotions. You could literally pick out, you know, quotes that she says during, you know, an emotional time that people are just going to connect with straight away.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I really have to start doing that. Yeah. And it's a good reminder for me too, you know.
See, Stefanie's going to have to reread her books for the 100th time.
I'll always look up for something else in there, yeah. Once again. Now you gave me something else to do.
Just say that. I'm just adding to your plate, Stefanie. Adding to your plate.
Yeah.
We've got some more comments. So I'm going to put them up here. Let's have a look. Josephine says, I don't get my ideas from dreams, but I plot rather than count sheep. I just hope her husband Nick doesn't upset her, because otherwise she'll be plotting something about Nick.
Yeah, she's a plotter. That's good, though. I wish I had the patience to do that.
I love it. I love it. Theodore says, I'm a fake of showing people my stories. Do you know what, Theodore? I don't think you can ever miss an opportunity to tell people about your stories. I think every opportunity you have, you should try and pop it into the conversation. I am terrible for doing that. I've got to tell you, Stefanie, because I can be literally at my doctor's surgery, start chatting to somebody, because you know me, I'm always chatting to everybody, and I will just happen to drop into the conversation. I need to get home and get on writing my latest book.
I think that's wonderful, though. Self-promotion. That's
do you know
great.
What? It's key, I think, because people buy us first and our book second. And you know, if you talk to people and drop in that you're an author, people love that, because the moment you say you're an author, they straight away think of you as a professional person. They usually want to Google you when you get home.
There's definitely an interest there
Exactly. I know I've got a bit of an advantage because obviously I've got the English accent, but even that, because
and anything you say sounds lovely and makes you interesting. So you do have the advantage.
I do take advantage of it. I do have to say, but in a very nice way, because when people say to me, I could listen to you all day, I said, well, actually, you can check out the Witty Writers Show, and you can listen to me and all my fabulous authors that I interview.
That is great. That's a great slide in. That's a great way to work that in. I love it.
I use the same trick on my husband when I'm after something, Stefanie.
I'm going to have to come to you for voice lessons. I want your accent so I can pull your moves. So I can slide it in and they can say they like my voice, because I don't think anybody's saying they like my voice.
I think you've got a lovely voice, and I love your New York accent. It's absolutely lovely. I did visit New York once with my husband for our anniversary, and he nails the New York accent. He really, really does, honestly. And his favorite thing was we'd be walking down and he'd just randomly go, hey, I'm walking here. I can't.
That's from a movie, right? That's from Al Pacino, I think. That's from a movie. Or is it Dustin Hoffman? I don't know, but you know what? That is definitely from a movie. Maybe someone in the comments could let us know which movie that's from. Oh my God. That's hilarious. So a New Yorker will definitely relate to what he's saying too, because that's from a movie. And I think the actor's walking down the street in New York. So you guys are from the same town or the same country, or you have the same accent, or?
Yeah, we're both English, and we actually moved to America in 2011. He's got more of a twang. He's picked up quite a few American type words. But obviously, working from home, I don't get out much, so my accent is so strong right now. And plus, I'm always FaceTiming, Skyping with, my family back in England. So
right.
As soon as I talk to them, my accent just comes straight back.
Full force, probably, right? So does your husband ever joke around with you, though, and speak like an American, or no? Does he ever?
He doesn't, but he's telling me that I sound really posh all the time because I've still got such a strong accent. So yeah, he does take the mickey out of me quite a lot. But I quite like how I sound. I quite like the fact I've still got a really strong accent.
I think everybody does. And yeah, that's you. That's Beth.
Yeah,
I think it does. And a lot of people probably like to listen to your interviews, not only for the information that they get, but because of your accent.
I'm a bit of a lunatic too.
Well, that probably helps sell your books too.
I'm going to put another comment on my darling. Josephine says the writing is the easiest bit. It's the rest which is difficult, but it's a process and well worth a go. Now, Stefanie, I know you, Stefanie, have been working just as hard as Josephine. For you, what do you think is the most difficult area that you have to deal with regards to, you know, the whole process of promoting, trying to sell yourself and the book?
I would say when you post on social media and you have to, you know, have a brief, you know, something short when you when you have a tweet or a pinned tweet, something that is going to interest a potential reader for someone to say, oh, what's that about? Or, oh, I want to read that. Or I want to know what's going to happen. That may be sometimes what's most difficult, because you don't know what's going to catch somebody's eye or what's going to, you know, spark an interest. Sometimes you don't know what people are looking for, an individual, or who happens to be on that Twitter feed or that Instagram feed, or you just have to make it interesting. So it's true. You're selling yourself and you're selling your book, and it has to be interesting.
Yeah.
Or else, you know, yeah. So I would say that probably with promoting.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, I can see comments still coming, Stefanie, but unfortunately we are running out of time. So if you wouldn't mind, after we finish, just keeping up and answering questions that are still coming in.
I would love to.
That'd be fabulous. For those of you who are watching, please don't forget to like our page so you can find out when our next interviews are up. I've got a whole page of events, so keep tabs. We've got so much coming up in the future. It's crazy. We've got loads and loads of things coming up. As always, I'm doing a giveaway today for our interview. So what I normally do, Stefanie, is anybody who shares your author interview gets put into a draw. And the winners this week, oh, there we go, we'll get the chance of winning one of 3 author.
Oh, wow.
So if they share your author interview, they will get put into a draw to win one of these beautiful handmade necklaces by a very good friend of mine called Laura. She makes them by hand. I will share her Facebook page. It's LPF Creations.
Very lovely, Laura.
She makes all of these. There we go. Aren't they beautiful? So
she makes beautiful pieces.
So share.
Share.
The more shares that you do, the more entries you will get into the draw for this week to win one of those beautiful necklaces, either for you or for your loved one.
Well, that's fun and exciting, right? For those who are going to share, right?
And don't forget, viewers, Stefanie is all over social media. She's got Goodreads, Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram. You are everywhere. So I have put the links on attached to the video so people can stalk you. So please.
Please. I'm willing to answer questions. If anybody has any writer questions or beginner questions, indie questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer.
Oh, fantastic.
And of course, there's always Writers Rock.
Exactly.
Right? Writers Rock is a wonderful source for indie authors.
Absolutely. If you are an author, as Stefanie said, and you want tips and advice, go to the Writers Rock Facebook group or website, which I did. Quite proud of myself for that one.
You do it all, girl. You do it all.
I'm a lady of many hats.
Yes.
Stephanie, thank you so much for today. You've been an absolute joy, darling. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
me too. It's been a pleasure.
I hope we can do this again for your new book. And
me too. Now you make me want to work on it even faster. So thank you. It was so much fun, Beth. I was really looking forward to this. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, my darling. I appreciate you too, and for everything that you do for all of us authors. And you are an absolute diamond. And thank you, everybody, for joining. We will see you for the next Witty Writers Show. See you all later.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.